Greetings, Taku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you all my review of the series premiere of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right here on Otaku Assemble Weekly. And finally, here to bring you all my thoughts and opinion on the series premiere of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on ABC. Now, just got done watching it, and jumping into my general thoughts on the pilot, I was actually surprised that I liked it as much as I did. And here's why. Here's the thing. Now, when it was first announced that ABC was going to be doing a television series dedicated to S.H.I.E.L.D. and it was all supposed to tie into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I had a couple of concerns. The first concern was just my interest level. I've never really been that big of a fan of S.H.I.E.L.D. I haven't. Growing up watching the Marvel animated series and reading some of the Marvel comics growing up, unless Nick Fury was present in said episode or in said book, if S.H.I.E.L.D. was around, I didn't really care that they were there. You see what I'm saying? It was that sort of thing, you know. I was always more of a fan of Nick Fury, but not so much S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, since he was the front man, he was the star. And the thing is also because S.H.I.E.L.D. is, you know, espionage. All of the old Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. stories, you know, it's espionage. He's a spy. And my thing is, espionage is not my thing. You know, I'm not a James Bond fan. I'm not a Bourne Identity buff. When it comes to secret agents and spies, that's just not my thing. So that's why I said, you know, when I was coming up, yeah, I liked Nick Fury because I liked him as a character. I thought he was a cool dude. Even when he's playing the asshole or the douchebag, I still like, you know, Fury's. I still like his character. I like his style. I like his mystique. I like the thing about him. But when it came to S.H.I.E.L.D. as a whole, as an organization, I never really cared for him. Also, mainly because a lot of times when they would get featured in books, it would always be with small characters who sometimes would just get written off as generic secret agents or stuff like that. Pretty much what I was surprised they didn't do with Agent Coulson with the cinematic universe. So taking that into consideration, when I hear that it's like out of all the Marvel properties you could make a television series out of, you chose S.H.I.E.L.D. I was like, what? All right. The second thing was the fact that it was supposed to tie into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I was thinking, okay, how is this gonna work? You know, when is it gonna take place? Who's gonna appear on the series? What's going to cross over from the films into the series, or what's gonna cross over from the series into the films? How are y'all gonna juggle this? You know, how is this supposed to work if y'all plan on doing multiple seasons? So on and so forth. You can kind of come up with all the questions, you know, all these type of questions came up. So taking all these things into consideration, it all boiled down to, let me check out the pilot. Let me see what they're actually doing with it, and I'll make my decision there. And so going into the pilot, I had all this stuff in the back of my head, and then, you know, first half of the episode, I was kind of, okay, I can kind of dig that. But by the end of the episode, I was like, damn, that was actually good. Now, I'm not saying it was, you know, spectacular or the best thing I've ever seen or anything like that. No. Far from it. But I will say I actually dug it. I dug it. Now, let's jump into things that I liked, things that I thought were really good in the pilot. All right. So first and foremost, glad to see Agent Coulson back, because I became a fan of Agent Coulson, I think, after Iron Man 2. I was like, Coulson's my man. So I'm glad that Agent Coulson came back. Now, I do know, I haven't read anything, but I know, like, as soon as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. premiered last night, you know, the internet exploded with, like, oh, you know, fan rage or anything like that about how Coulson was written back into the series. Now, I don't know, because they didn't reveal it in the episode. All they said in the episode was that Director Fury faked his death so that the Avengers could, come together as a team, but we knew that in Avengers because they said it in Avengers when Homegirl went to Fury. She says, those Captain America trading cards that he had. She was like, those weren't even in his jacket when he was shot. And Fury says they needed the push. So we knew that from the film. And I'll be honest with you, the only reason why I can point that out is because I just got done watching Avengers a couple of weeks ago. And I caught that. I was like, oh shit, it's in the movie. So, yeah. Now, there's the whole thing about the Tahiti bit, which I'm pretty sure is going to tie into Coulson, what Coulson's been doing in between this and in between Avengers. But pretty much my stance on this is, I don't know what those articles that I've been seeing popping up all over the place online, superhero hype, comic book movie, all these places. I don't know what those articles are talking about. I don't know if they're just talking about the fact that his death was faked, or if they have spoilers for something going on later in the season that's going to actually explain what happened. I don't know. All I'm saying is, the way it's written in the show, I can get behind because we got it in the film. They already hinted at it in the film. So this is just them following through with it. And I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. And besides, yeah, sure. If Coulson would have died, yes, it would have, had so much weight to the film. It would have had so much more to the Avengers film. But at the same time, Coulson is a damn good character. He's hilarious as hell. I love the actor, and let's face it, he's a fan favorite. Nobody wanted to see him go, and now that they got this series, I don't want anybody else to be the star of this series but him. Yeah, believe it or not, I could not see them doing this series with Samuel L. Jackson starring in it. No, I couldn't see that happening. But Coulson, I can get behind this, so I don't have a problem with it. I like it. Let's keep this damn thing going. Surprisingly enough, I actually do like the team. I like the team. Now I'm trying to make sure I get all my characters straight. Miranda, I believe is her name, who's pretty much, yeah, I guess you could call her Coulson's number 2. I like her. How she's the the old school veteran, almost like a sergeant commander type. I like that. And yes, there is some mystique about her. I'm almost positive we'll get more of her backstory as the series goes along. And I think, I could be wrong about this, but that name, I think she is one of the S.H.I.E.L.D. characters from the comics. I think. Don't quote me on that, because like I said, I've never been a huge fan of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I don't know 100%, but that name sounds familiar, so there's that. Now, let's see. Our 2 tech buffs. What is it? What is their names? And it's a catchy thing too. It sounds like a law firm. It's shit. I can't remember. I can't remember the 2 tech buffs. Now, yeah, of course, they are kind of like the generic little little lab geeks. I do like the female character more than the male. Just because she's a biochemist, and I'm more interested in what they could potentially do with that instead of just the regular tech guy like Homeboy is. When they said a biochemist, I'm like, okay, yeah, that kind of piques my interest a little bit more. So, and I'm digging her. She's not. I'm not saying that Homeboy is obnoxious, but she is a lot more palatable than he is. Agent Ward, I'm mixed on him. He has some good qualities I like, and then he has some bad qualities that I don't like. They are playing him up as the generic loner, lone wolf character who has to learn to fit to a team, who has to learn to be a team player. So, I am a little tired of that trope, but I'm more interested in seeing where they take Agent Ward's character in regards to his place and his ambitions within S.H.I.E.L.D. as a whole, rather than just trying to get him to fit on the team. Like, I'm more interested in what it is he wants to accomplish. What are his personal goals? What are the things that he, his character arc, where that's going to go. I am a bit more interested in, rather than just how he's going to mesh with the rest of the team. And then the character of Sky, she was the surprise character for me in the episode. When they first introduced her, I was like, I'm not gonna like this chick. She's the she's going to be the dumb beauty, the character who's just there to sell sex appeal. I was like, no, I was like, the whole Valley Girl gimmick. I was like, no, I was like, I'm not feeling this. I'm gonna hate her fucking guts. She's gonna be obnoxious as hell. This is gonna be a long season. But by, I think, midway through the episode was when I was like, okay, I can kind of dig her. Hats off to the actress who, once again, name I can't remember right now, but I was actually surprised by how funny they were able to make the character. She had some pretty a couple of lines that I chuckled at throughout the episode. So I was actually surprised by that. Now, well, let me see. Before I get into, is there anything else that I liked? Oh, I like the continuity. I liked how they fit that, how they fit it in. I wasn't sure how they were going to do it, but I like how they did it. Because we know from the start of the episode, clearly it's after Avengers. And, okay, so we're dealing pretty much with what S.H.I.E.L.D's been doing after Avengers. Alright, that's all fine and dandy. But when we found out that Project Centipede was using tech from Extremis, which was featured in Iron Man 3, that put a timestamp on it where it was like, okay, now I know what it is we're doing. I know where we are, when we are, and what we're dealing with, and what type of stuff I can expect to see in the series. So that was like the final, that was the final linchpin. That was the one where I was like, all right, now I know what we're doing, and I thought that was really good. With that Extremis detail, that being in the pilot, I thought was like perfect. Like, yes, okay, now we can roll. And I'm going to end the things I liked about the pilot, and it's going to segue into the things I didn't like about the pilot. And I'm going to do that with the character of Mike. Mike was a hit and miss for me. I liked the character. I liked his backstory. Yes, his backstory was also generic. It was also a bit cliche, but I liked him as a character. Some of his dialogue was corny. The whole wanting to be a hero bit. That was a little bit corny, and I don't know who wrote the pilot, but I'm betting my money it was a comic book writer, because there were certain lines throughout the pilot where I was like, only a comic book writer would say that. The average person does not know what a cosplay girl is. Oh, it's an origin story. This is comic book geek lingo, clearly being emphasized through the dialogue in the fucking script. So that's how I knew. A comic book writer had to have written that. Or somebody who brushed up on their geekdom. But so, getting back to Mike, I liked his backstory, as generic as it was. I like what they were doing with it. I like the themes and the symbolism that his character was working with, and the monologue was the monologue at the end was when I was like, okay, now I'm down with this show. I can get into this. I can get into this. But now we're going to get into the part I didn't like. I'm not sure, but I think Mike was a one-hit wonder. Like, I thought they were setting Mike up to be a reoccurring character, like actually joining the team, being their, superhero for the series, their their field officer, if you will, and I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Mike was only in the pilot, and if that's so, then I fucking hate it, because he was my favorite character from the pilot, with the exception of Coulson, who's one of my favorite characters before the pilot. But I'm talking about characters introduced in the pilot. Mike was my favorite character, and the idea that he might not come back is like, wow, fuck me. Okay, let me see. Other things I didn't like about the pilot. Well, I already commented when I said some of the dialogue was corny. And yes, the characters are, generic archetypes as of right now. But I'm hoping that that's only like that so that we can get the story going and that the characters will develop over time. I'm hoping that they won't just stay in those shells throughout the series. Otherwise, it's going to be a long season. Let me see. Actually, I think that's about it. As far as things I didn't like, I think that's about it for the most part. Yeah. Huh. I thought there was some other stuff. Maybe not. Yeah. I think that's about it. So, yeah, final thoughts on the pilot. All in all, I thought it was really, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a really good start, and I am curious to see where they take the series. Now, as far as like expectations, I can't really make any, and that's because I don't know. I don't know what their end-all be-all goal for the series is. I don't know. It's a little bit harder for me to get a read on this series. It wasn't like last season with Arrow, for an example, where I knew what Arrow was supposed to be. And I could at least get some idea of where they would, take the series, because I knew, Arrow was supposed to try and like fill the void that Smallville left behind. It was supposed to return DC to primetime television type deal. So so I had more of an idea about what Arrow should be, or where I think it would go. But for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I don't know. It's kind of weird. We're talking about a TV series that is supposed to supplement and is supposed to complement the films, and it's like I said, I still don't know how much of the films how much of a role the films will play into the series, and vice versa, how much of a role the series will play into the films. I don't know. So all those things make it kind of difficult for me to really, make expectations on and stuff like that. But I'm just rambling at this point. So I'll go ahead and I'll wrap up this review. I want to thank you all for joining me again this week. And I also want to make this note. As much as I like the pilot, I'm not too sure if I will be reviewing this on a week-by-week basis. And that's just because prior to the premiere, I did not realize that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that it airs the same night as Sons. And that's going to be a problem. And also, like I said, my interest in the show is not hardened yet to where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna review it, gotta review it. So I will say, for the time being, I will pretty much be reviewing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on an episode by episode basis. I think is the best way to put it. I'm not sure if I'll be reviewing it every week, but if there's an episode that I gotta fucking talk about, then more than likely I will review it. Definitely. But we'll see, because it could be, it could be the same thing. Multiple shows I've reviewed have been like that, where I wasn't sure if I was going to review them week by week, but I ended up doing it anyway. You know, like Arrow, Vikings, Boardwalk Empire for season 2 at least. All of those series, I was like, no, I gotta fucking review this shit week by week. Alright, and one more update before I wrap up this video, just to let you guys know, speaking of week by week basis, I will be passing on this week's Sons of Anarchy review. That's just because I've watched the episode twice now, episode 3. I've watched it twice now, and I don't really have enough thoughts on this week's episode to dedicate a whole video to. I don't. So what I'll probably do is I'll do the same thing like what I'm doing with my Legend of Korra episode 3 review. I'll probably group this week's Sons of Anarchy review with next week's episode review, because it's the same thing I'm doing with this week's Legend of Korra review. I'm reviewing episodes 3 and 4 together. So as of right now, that's probably what I'm gonna do with Sons too, is review episodes 3 and 4 together. And like I said, that's just because I just don't have enough to say about it to dedicate a whole video to. Not really. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap this review up. I want to thank you all for joining me again this week. And in the comments below, leave your thoughts on the pilot for Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And let me know some of your, what are some of your impressions? Where do you guys think the series is going to go? Let me know some of your expectations. Maybe I can kind of get a better read on it if I know what you guys are thinking. And so we can kind of, you post a comment, I'll read the comment. You post, I'll read. I might reply. You post, I'll read. We get that thing going again. Let's try it. Anyway, and so keep an eye out. Friday, Legend of Korra episode, season 2, episodes 3 and 4 review will be out. And with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, signing off. And until next time, peace.